In this video, we will walk through what actually happens if freelancers in Denmark skip paying taxes, why it is much riskier than many people assume, and what practical steps you can take to stay compliant and protect your business. Let's start with the basic principle. In Denmark, all income is, as a rule, taxable unless there is a very specific exemption in the law. That includes income from freelancing, side gigs, consulting work, digital services, creative projects, and platform-based work. Whether you receive payments through a Danish bank account, a foreign platform, or even in cash, Skattestyrelsen considers it part of your taxable income if you earn it as a resident of Denmark. Many freelancers get into trouble not because they deliberately intend to evade taxes, but because they underestimate what must be reported, they mix personal and business finances, or they assume that smaller amounts don't matter. The reality is that under Danish law, not paying the tax you owe can be treated as tax evasion, and the authorities have both the tools and the mandate to follow up. So what actually happens if you skip paying? Initially, it often starts with data matching. Danish tax authorities receive extensive information from banks, payment service providers, digital platforms, and in many cases foreign tax authorities through international information sharing agreements. If your declared income does not align with the payment flows they see, the system may flag your case for review. You might receive a letter or a digital message in your skat.dk inbox requesting clarification or additional documentation. At that stage, the tone is usually administrative rather than punitive. Skattestyrelsen is essentially asking you to explain discrepancies or declare overlooked income. If you respond, correct your return, and pay any outstanding amount including interest, the matter can sometimes be resolved without further escalation, particularly if the amounts are limited and it appears to be an honest mistake. However, if you do not respond, or if the discrepancies are large, repeated, or clearly intentional, the process becomes more serious. Skattestyrelsen has the authority to make a discretionary assessment of your income based on the data they have. Practically, that means they can decide what they believe you have earned and tax you on that basis, often without the deductions you might otherwise have claimed. For a freelancer, that can be financially painful because legitimate business expenses may be ignored if you fail to document them adequately. On top of the additional tax, late payment interest and surcharges will typically apply. These can accumulate quickly and turn a manageable tax bill into a significant financial burden. For more severe or systemic cases, penalties go beyond interest. Danish tax rules allow for fines and, in cases of clear tax evasion, criminal sanctions. As a freelancer, you could face a fine calculated as a multiple of the tax evaded. In the most serious cases, particularly where there is large-scale or repeated fraud, cases can be referred for criminal prosecution, which may lead to a criminal record and, in extreme situations, conditional or even unconditional imprisonment. Even for smaller freelance operations, a criminal record for tax evasion can be highly damaging, limiting access to certain professional roles, affecting your credibility with clients, and complicating future dealings with banks or investors. Another dimension is the impact on your relationship with the tax authorities going forward. Once you have been on Skattestyrelsen's radar for non-compliance, you can expect a higher likelihood of audits, more questions, and less flexibility in borderline situations. Rebuilding trust can take years and often requires additional documentation and administrative effort each tax year. There is also a practical risk around your cash flow and personal finances. If you fail to pay assessed tax, including the additional amounts and interest, your case may be transferred to Skattestyrelsen, the authority that handles debt collection for the public sector. They can initiate recovery actions such as wage garnishment, offsets against tax refunds or certain benefits, and, in some cases, enforcement against assets. For a freelancer, who typically has variable income and limited financial buffers, unplanned collections can be highly disruptive and may threaten the viability of the business itself. Beyond the legal and financial consequences, there is a reputational element to consider. Many freelance professions in Denmark operate on trust and long-term relationships. Publicized cases of tax evasion, even if the amounts are modest, can damage your professional standing, especially in sectors such as consulting, digital services, design, and advisory work where integrity and reliability are key differentiators. So what should freelancers in Denmark do to avoid this situation? The most effective strategy is to build compliance into your business routines from day one. That starts with registering correctly in the Danish system. understanding whether you are operating as an individual with B income, as a sole proprietorship, Enkeltmansvirksomhet, or under a company structure such as an APS. Each structure has distinct tax implications, including VAT obligations, deductions, and reporting requirements. You should keep clear records of all invoices issued, payments received, and business expenses incurred. Ideally, maintain separate bank accounts for business and personal finances to avoid confusion and to make it easier to document your activity if Skattestyrelsen asks. Regularly set aside a portion of your freelance income for taxes instead of waiting until the end of the year. Many freelancers in Denmark use a simple rule of thumb, reserving a fixed percentage of each payment for tax and VAT in a separate account, then adjusting once the actual tax liability is known. While a rule of thumb is not a replacement for proper calculation, it significantly reduces the risk of being unable to pay when the bill arrives. It is also important to understand your obligations around VAT, moms. Depending on the nature and scale of your freelance activity, you may need to register for VAT and add it to your invoices. Failing to do so does not mean VAT disappears, it generally means you may end up owing it out of your own pocket later, along with potential penalties. If you are unsure whether your activity is subject to VAT or how cross-border services are treated, it is advisable to seek targeted guidance rather than make assumptions. Another practical step is to leverage the tools provided by the Danish authorities. The Skat.dk platform offers calculators, guidance material, and access to your preliminary tax assessment, forskuddsopgørelse, and annual tax assessment, årsopgørelse. Updating your preliminary tax assessment when your freelance income changes helps reduce surprises and shows the authorities that you are acting in good faith. If your income rises materially during the year, consider adjusting your advance tax payments rather than waiting for a large underpayment at year-end. Finally, if you realize that you have already skipped reporting some freelance income, the worst strategy is to simply hope it goes unnoticed. The Danish system encourages voluntary correction. In many cases, if you proactively contact Skattestyrelsen, correct your returns, and pay what you owe including interest, the outcome will be significantly better than if the omission is discovered during a control. Demonstrating that you are willing to fix past mistakes can make a real difference in how your case is assessed. In summary, skipping taxes as a freelancer in Denmark is not a harmless shortcut. It is a decision that can trigger interest, fines, audits, and in serious cases, criminal consequences. Beyond the legal risks, it can destabilize your finances and undermine your professional reputation. By understanding your obligations, keeping structured records, setting aside funds for tax, and addressing issues early, you can turn tax compliance from a source of anxiety into a manageable, predictable part of running your freelance business.